You guys, welcome back to King Ols. I'm now here for your Errol Spence Jr. versus Terrence Crawford prediction now for you guys. And yes, what a massive fight this is going to be on Saturday night on July 29th. And yeah, I cannot wait for this one, to be honest with you. It's going to be absolute fireworks. It's a real difficult one to predict. I keep changing my mind on who I think's actually going to bloody go on and win this fight. But yeah, I'm going to break it down and say what my prediction is. And I haven't actually got a full set prediction as we speak right now. But yeah, I'm going to break it down and say how I think it is going to go. So obviously, we've got two southpaws here. Errol Spence, he's, a full-on southpaw, can't really fight out of the orthodox stance. Crawford can switch it up a bit, but I don't see why he would want to do that in this fight, though, where you're fighting a real awkward southpaw in Errol Spence Jr. So Crawford, you should expect him to be in his southpaw stance for this whole fight. Obviously, I think it's going to be a really interesting one because Crawford is a really slow starter. It does take him, like 3-4 rounds really to get him started. So, if Spence can, you assume that Spence is going to take the first 3-4 rounds or something like that, and Spence to win, I think he really needs to stand his ground and, probably outbox Crawford, to be fair, because let's be real, I can't see Errol Spence Jr. knocking out Terrence Crawford. I can't see it happening. Crawford's got way too much of a good chin. He's got one of the best chins in boxing right now, and his movement's just overall too good in my opinion. Crawford. So I don't see Crawford getting knocked out, and especially with I think 3 out of his last 5, 3 out of Spence's last 5, he's been taken to decision 3 times. So yeah, I can't see him knocking Crawford out. That's one thing. Overall, with Crawford, I think I rate his movement better than Errol Spence Jr. I think Crawford is more of an awkward fighter than Spence is, in my opinion. Just, his general movement in general, the way he moves around the ring with his footwork and all that, I think he's more awkward. He's got more of an unpredictable jab. Spence has also got an unpredictable jab, but I think Crawford, has, I think he has more. Yeah, I think he has more of a quicker jab than Spence does. I think overall in this fight, it's a really interesting one because both really do like to take center ring, and both are really good at holding center ring. So it's going to be interesting to see who will be the dominant one on taking center ring. It's going to be really, 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 really interesting to see, and I'm intrigued. Who will be the one to fully go on and take that center ring and be dominant in this fight? Because I do think, I do think to win they do need to you need to take center ring. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens here between the two. I think overall, Spence, he's been very inactive though. Let's be real. I think it's been over a year since he actually last fought. He fought Ugas in last April. Crawford for what was it, like late last year or something, against Avanesian, and made light work of that one. So will the inactivity get to Errol Spence because he's been out for over a year now? So that's going to be interesting. I feel like both guys get better as the rounds go on, especially Terrence Crawford though. He really does build his way into the fight, and with Terrence Crawford, even though he is a slow starter, he's always in control though. He's never really in danger at all. He knows what he's doing. He takes a while to fully get into it, but he knows what he's doing. Errol Spence, he can, start well and end well, Errol Spence. But yeah, with Crawford, you just always know with him there's something coming. There's some kind of knockout coming. And with Terrence Crawford, he just has this proper ultra killer instinct, and he's just different when he has someone hurt. He fully puts it on you. It's just unlike others. Honestly, it's amazing what Crawford could do. The IQ is amazing. But Spence is really difficult to hurt. He's really difficult to hurt. Both are really difficult to hurt. And, obviously Crawford's got the ultra killer instinct and can get anyone out of there. But Spence is also different as well, though. Crawford is different to anyone that Spence has fought, and Spence is different to anyone that Crawford's fought. I see some people saying, oh yeah, Terrence Crawford's going to absolutely walk through Errol Spence Jr. He's not going to walk through him. He is not going to walk through him. Honestly, I don't think he will. In my opinion, I think Errol Spence's way to win this fight, I think he needs to outbox Terrence Crawford. I do. I feel like if there's a knockout in this fight or a stoppage, I think it's more likely to come from Terrence Crawford, in my opinion. I could be wrong. I don't know. Both are really hard hitters. I think, yeah, Crawford's, out of his 39 wins, he's got 30 knockouts. And Errol Spence, out of his 28 wins, he's got 22 knockouts. So, both can bang. Both can bang. But, yeah, I mean, it's a really, really, really interesting one. I feel like, Crawford's really good at boxing at different angles, of course. He gets his angles right every single time. And I feel like he's better at that than Spence. Overall, I do think that Crawford's got better ring IQ than Spence. But, I feel like Spence, he knows Crawford's a slow starter in this fight. And I feel like his game plan's really going to be to try and take advantage of that and stand his ground and try and outbox Terrence Crawford. But that's a really hard ask to outbox Terrence Crawford, though. But it's also really hard to outbox Errol Spence Jr. But you could argue that Sean Porter was actually up on the cards against Terrence Crawford in that fight. But, that is Sean Porter. He's very good. But I feel like, Errol Spence is obviously on a different level to Porter. So Errol Spence could outbox Crawford if you think of it. But you just always know that, Crawford can just always just be in control even when he's behind, though, and can take anyone out at any time. That's the thing. I think that Crawford does hit harder than Spence. I do think that Crawford hits harder than Spence, in my opinion. But it's a hard one to predict. It's a real hard one to predict. I feel like Crawford's very good at getting himself off of the back foot, so whenever he is pushed onto the back foot, he's good at getting himself off of it. Spence's as well. It's a real difficult one to predict. But if you do look at their performances, though, you do kind of see Crawford's performances on that kind of different level to Spence. But that being said, though, I have a feeling Spence might take this one. I don't know. I just have a feeling. I have a feeling. To be honest with you, but I don't know. It's a really difficult one to predict, but I think Spence might take it. But with Crawford, you just never know when the knockout's going to come with him. But Spence, I think it's going to be hard to keep Crawford off you and keep him at range. But I mean, I know Crawford's an absolute monster, but Spence, I think, I don't know. It's a real difficult one, and this is why it's such a good fight. But I'm going Spence. Everything I've said, Crawford being the more awkward fighter and all that, but I'm going Spence. I just have a feeling. I have a feeling there might be, it could be a robbery. Crawford could win the majority of the rounds and Spence gets it, or it might not be a robbery, it'd just be controversial in Spence's favour, but I think Spence will win. I think he'll win a majority decision. That's what I'm going, or it's split, I don't know, but I am going Spence with a decision win, to be fair, but it's going either way. It can go either way. I just have a feeling Spence will take it. I feel like if it is a close decision at the end of the fight, it will be given to Spence. I feel like that's obvious, but yeah, I'm going Spence. I do think Spence will win. Anyway, thanks for watching the video, okay? I'll speak to you on a bit. Subscribe if you're new, and thanks for watching. Peace.